Hello, welcome to the listening show. That's right, I had half a second to prepare and make sure I was announcing the correct show. It's like being Regis Philbin and hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and what else did he host? I know he Live with Regis and Kelly. That counts.
Yeah.
So imagine him. Hello, welcome to Who Wants to Be a Regis and Kelly. I'm amazed he didn't make that mistake once.
Yeah.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Or like Steve Harvey and his show and then Family Feud. He's like, welcome to the Feud. This is, my show.
Oh, right. Steve Harvey's show.
Yeah. He does a lot of shows. Or like the little kids one where the little kids show inventions.
Oh, no, I don't remember. I was thinking about Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Remember that?
Did he do that one?
No, but I was just thinking about it.
The guy with the mustache did that one.
Yeah, what's his name?
I don't know.
He did a show called Blue Collar TV. Remember that? He says he had a bunch of redneck jokes. I can't remember if that was the name of one of his shows, but he said, if your baby has more teeth than you do, you might be a redneck. The punchline to his jokes were, you might be a redneck. And that was what was one of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome to that show. One of those shows.
Yeah. No, I remember that Steve Harvey one with the kids. He always gets kids to do all these spectacular things that most adults can't do.
It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I don't care about it, but I just thought about it because you said something about multiple shows, and I thought about Steve Harvey. Last night I went to the Chiefs game, and I made a Steve Harvey joke then as well, and it was silly.
Good segue. What was it?
The joke?
Yeah.
I don't remember, but basically the punchline was, ha ha ha, I'm Steve Harvey, and then everyone went, ha ha ha, and they laughed.
The punchline was the laughter.
Yeah, it
which
was
is a good punchline.
I said,
for a joke.
that guy laughs like Steve Harvey. And then, I don't know how
I
he
don't
laughs.
remember him ever laughing. I only remember him giving like one of these looks.
Well, here's how he actually
To the
laughs.
camera?
Here's how he laughs. He goes,
Right.
he just shakes.
But he doesn't laugh though.
No.
Yeah.
But
Same with Regis Philbin. I don't remember him laughing either.
Regis?
Do you remember Regis Philbin?
Yeah, he does this.
I remember it like Steve Harvey, where he just kind of emoted a response, whatever it was, but like emoting like he's in a sitcom. That's what I remember from them.
Yeah. One of my favorite reoccurring jokes that people make about Family Feud is that they'll ask absurdly like very risque questions, and then Steve has to act surprised when they give a risque answer.
Right.
And people make fun of that all the time on TikTok, where they'll be like, name something that you would put in your mother. And then they'll be like, lunch. And lunch is already taken. Do another one. They're like, thoughts. Nope, that was already used. Like, you got to give us another one. They'll be like, another meal. No food left. And they're like, a toy. Ding, ding, ding. Oh, my word. You did not just say that. Like that kind of thing. And everyone's like, oh, my. It's very funny. Anyway.
But sometimes they give risque answers to dumb, simple questions, and then Steve Harvey rightly makes I can't do his face.
This.
Like the surprised, unamused, jaw smacked. What's the word? Slack jaw. Anyway.
And then he does that thing where he gets quiet and he goes, save us up there.
Under my breath remark. And everyone audience laughs.
Up there. Yeah, I see what's up. And then, dang, oh my word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Hey,
it's very cool to study a man's mannerisms, especially a man who does a thing that everybody knows, like Family Feud.
You mean isms of a man?
Yeah, no, like if you were to, when people know one person a lot, if you were to imitate that person's mannerisms, people like that. People like people who imitate people's mannerisms.
Oh, yeah.
Especially people everybody knows, like Steve Harvey. That's why everybody laughed. Like everybody laughed when I did the Steve. I don't even remember what it was now, but
doesn't matter. It was Steve Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was. Well, this isn't a new thought. I was tied to what you said. I think it's. Did I say it to you? I said it to some other live human being, but who was I with yesterday? I think it must have been you. I said something like, "People suffering, pain, and misfortune always funny." It was a remark to like watching someone get hurt. Mm-hmm. But that's also true and very strange that people imitating other people that more or less are well known or known between them, I should say. So say we both have one friend who's peculiar and one of us does an impression, that would be very entertaining to you. That's just how it is. But isn't that weird how that's the case?
Yeah, it is.
imitating somebody is a my dopamine.
Yeah, I know, but here's the extra weird thing I think about it is that if you imitate something that's too different, then nobody gets it. So like you have to find like the people that are most fun to imitate or either make fun of or imitate, which are generally people who are mostly normal but have one or two very peculiar things or quirks about them that are very noticeable. But they're almost all the way. Like if you were to do,
I think I know why.
so like if you were to like imitate like an orc from Lord of the Rings, and people don't really usually think that's funny. It's just a little bit too different than a person kind of thing. Orcs are just like you doing all the snoring sounds and whatnot, and everybody goes, "That guy's weird. He does orc sounds."
Well, here's what I think about it. I think it comes down to you can't satirize comedy. So if you have a character like Christopher Walken or Jack Black, who may be inherently entertaining because of their personalities, you don't need to make fun of them. They make fun of themselves almost. It's like they are, as a comedy movie, you can't spoof it. So the things that are spoofable, like you were saying, are people with one or two quirky qualities.
Yeah.
So if you were going to satirize Jimmy Fallon, who's mostly normal, he has his laugh. Well, if I'm going to satirize him, I'm going to take his one or two qualities and just exaggerate the heck out of him.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we can laugh at those qualities.
The,
and an otherwise
left
normal
the caricature.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to make a caricature out of an otherwise normal person. That's what you do with, not funny movies that you make fun of. You pick the one little thing, you just make a big joke out of that one little thing that it did.
It'd be fun to do like caricatures of people like Jimmy Fallon just for fun. Like here's what I do when I think Jimmy Fallon, right? I think talk really fast like this with your teeth out, and then you get really excited about things, and then we're gonna show my audience member coming out here. Like that's what I think. And you talk and you get excited, you blue words together, and your hands come closer to your face like this.
You know what's really funny about
What's that?
A testament to how true the whole phenomenon of
was that recognizable?
I'm going on a spiel to say yes. That's the short end of this essay. Okay.
Okay.
So I am not very familiar with Jimmy Fallon, and yet I was like, oh yeah, that's totally him. So that's the short version. Sorry, but
cool.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah. But why does that? Why?
He's always smiling too. Like if you,
I'm trying to tie it to finding amusement in people getting hurt. I try to think back to like, okay, what would be a biological reason for that? Like go back hundreds of years. Why would it be funny to watch somebody get hurt?
I actually have a theory, but go ahead, you first.
Okay.
Sorry. I thought about this and I was excited because I was thinking about this earlier this week, and I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, it's okay. I want to hear your answer because I haven't thought about it, or I should say I haven't had an answer. I've thought about it. What would be a reason for it? And the thing off the top of my head is because it's what's the word? I don't even know what avant-garde means. I want to look that up. But it's something that is otherwise.
I think avant-garde is something that takes you off guard.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then that's not the right word. What I'm trying to say, I think maybe it's because it's something that it's maybe taboo is the right word. Something you otherwise wouldn't or are not allowed to laugh at, which therefore makes it more enjoyable. It's like you can't have this one thing, you can't touch this. Well, now I want to touch it, and so if someone gets hurt, that's the one thing you wouldn't laugh at.
That's possible.
That's the quick off the top of my head. Therefore, I don't know what was your thinking for that.
So I entertained that idea because it's a good one and it makes sense to me. But I think it tends to be more along the lines of laughing is a dopaminergical response. I don't know. Dopaminergical.
I like the word if it's real or not.
I don't remember if that's a
dopaminergical. Let's go with that.
It triggers dopamine. Laughing triggers dopamine, and pain usually generates the painful chemicals. And so people like developed like this like sort of it's almost like a safeguard against it releasing the wrong chemicals to seeing pain.
Coping mechanism.
Yeah, it's like a coping. So like I know plenty of people who laugh at painful stuff and they hate it. They hate watching it, but they're like, oh no, I hated that. But they're laughing the whole time. And I feel like it's almost like their brain has trained them to, hey, we don't feel the pain part if we laugh at this instead.
That's a good theory. I like that.
I think that
coping. I'm making up words too.
It's a dopaminergical response.
Dopaminergical coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Dopaminergical coping.
It's dopaminergical coping response. Coping.
It is now. That's our word for it. That's the theory that laughter at people's pain is a coping mechanism is called the dopaminergical coping mechanism, presented by Zach and Walter on the listening show.
That's a discovery that was made today in
We
science.
discovered that actually. It's not a theory. We discovered it here on our couch.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea.
Do you okay? So with Jimmy Fallon, what are your suggestions? Do it if in the future. If I'm like, hey, okay, we got a next guest here. We got he's coming around. Everyone give your hands together for this guy. And like I'm trying to picture other things that he does where he does this. He smiles and laughs like that a lot.
Funny. Because. Well, I'd like to help you, but like I said, I'm just not familiar with Jimmy Fallon, so I can't give you pointers. What might be fun, though, you can go ahead with what you're saying. Just let me take this in the air. What might be fun is for either one of us to do an impression of somebody without saying who it is.
Oh, yeah.
And then waiting until you might get it. Because if you hadn't said Jimmy Fallon, I think I might have gotten that.
Really?
I think so, because I just think it was... Anyway, but now what were you going to say? It might be a fun game
I like
to play later.
I don't remember what I was going to say, but I like your game better. I was actually, I do remember, I was going to say... You are familiar more with, I'm thinking other late night hosts. I'm thinking you might be more familiar with Colbert, maybe. Maybe you could do a caricature of Colbert.
I was going to say something about late night hosts. It came back to, we started the episode talking about game shows. That's what I was going to say. I don't remember the laughs of those game show hosts, but the late night show hosts, I do remember them laughing. Which they should laugh. But I was thinking, is that just a coincidence that the game shows that I remember, I can't remember the laughter of the hosts, but the late night ones, I do remember the laughter? Or is it a fact that most hosts don't or do? I don't know. I realized that earlier. I was like, I don't remember their laughter.
I know when Steve Harvey laughs, it's always away from the mic. They either like turn his mic down or something because you never hear him laugh.
Yeah,
it's always
so strange.
He's always like moving his head down
and right. I mean,
shaking.
I'm not saying he should laugh. If sometimes emoting or whatever, some other response might be more enjoyable to the audience. Who is a guy? I feel like there's some host or somebody who doesn't laugh but has a different response like that. That's just like so funny. But I know there's other ways to respond than just laughing, and I've seen somebody do stuff to where it's like, I love that response, but I can't think.
So like show host iconic mannerisms is what you're asking, basically.
No, but that sounds like a fun topic. Imagine pulling that out of a hat for a conversation. Show hosts iconic mannerisms. Go. Jimmy Fallon. This.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just like picturing hosts in my mind now. So John Oliver, he's got the no, we don't. It's this way.
Right.
Oh, he does
Fingers
the
in on the table.
and then he's always has a paper, and he does this, and he's got so like him. He's very that's his inflection.
There's a word for that. I think it's cadence. That's a rhythm at which you speak. I know what you're talking about.
The beats.
The rhythm and the
beats of that. Yeah,
the beats and the
tonality,
the melody too. There's usually a melody in the way that someone talks.
The inflection.
Maybe it's, I don't know what the right word is, but let me pick a person.
I made him sound dumb, but imagine me more British. Like that would be it. It'd be, no, you don't. It's more like this. And then everyone, It's funny because it is funny when he does it.
He also has the moment when he leans in.
Yeah.
And then the audience laughs. And he like blinks and nods like you're supposed to laugh at that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
So there's a bunch more. Some of them are really subtle. Like the guy who does Smarter Than a Fifth Grader. His is all kind of more.
Jamie, I think Jeff Foxworthy. There it is.
That's
his name. Yeah. Had Fox in there somewhere.
His thing is his mustache. That's it.
That is his personality.
Yeah, and his southern accent, hint of southern kind of.
Southern.
Yeah. I feel like there's some people that are just full of things that are really iconic. Like Jamie Foxx, he does a lot of hosting now. And that dude is like everything he does is kind of iconic. Yeah.
Jamie Foxx hosts shows.
Jamie Foxx.
Are we talking about the same person? Is it the lead in Django Unchained?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie Foxx.
I know he hosted shows. I knew he was doing some commercials.
Oh yeah, he does a lot of shows now.
Huh.
And he does them pretty good. But like he just seems like not boisterous. Maybe that is the word I'm looking for. Bubbly.
Charismatic?
Yeah, he's very charismatic.
I get it. I was going to ask this question earlier. We're jumping back to when we were talking about game shows. I was going to say, do you remember any shows you'd watch on television? Game shows, I should say. Do you remember anything fondly from your childhood that maybe people today wouldn't know about, or they go, oh yeah? Because I think of The Price is Right with Bob, whatever his name was.
Barker.
Yeah, Bob Barker.
Yeah.
That was my favorite show as a kid.
Really?
It's still going on, but with Drew somebody.
Drew Carey.
Thank you. And I know their names, I just can't remember them right now.
Yeah.
They don't live rent free, I guess.
I guess not.
They're late on the rent, so I forgot half of their name.
Yeah, we watched Press Your Luck when we were kids.
I've never heard of that.
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, and wow! Oh, woo, woo. You know, that doesn't sound familiar?
Nope, it did not bring it back.
And then there's like little red minion whammies. They're called whammies. And then they show up and they do some ridiculous little stunt to make your money go away. It's really silly. And so even when like you lose a bunch of money, which is normally a sad moment, like it's always cartoonish and it makes kids laugh, especially because they're all very, very slapstick, bonked in the head with a mallet and your money goes away stuff.
Yeah.
And anyway, we used to watch that at my grandparents' house all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Wheel of Fortune too.
I'm getting flooded. I loved Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel
But
of Fortune
I
still
remembered
rocks.
2 shows just now. I'll try to remember them. I'll pick this one. I think I told you about this before. It was on the channel that would show cartoons on Saturday mornings. It came on Saturday mornings. It was called Operation Junkyard.
Yeah, I remember that.
So you know what that is?
Yeah, I used to
Quick
watch it.
summary, live action show with 2 teams of children, each headed by an adult. And they are both sent out to a junkyard and they're tasked to build a machine or an object to do a task. And they have to go out there and get the pieces they might need to build a thing to do it. And then they have time limit to build it. And then they use their machines to compete in this challenge at the end of the episode to see who built the best thing out of junk. And it was so fun. Red and blue team.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And the other show, unless you want to talk about that one, because I loved that show.
No, keep
I
going.
just thought it was the coolest thing. The other show
cool.
I just remembered is called Shop Till You Drop.
Yeah, I remember that.
Did you watch that?
Yeah.
I think that was designed for old people to watch, not me, but I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. I was like, I'd be so good at that show. I'd be so fast if I had a cart. And then I think,
I'd be so fast.
What-
We get knocked on the door.
is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering if it was that.
Well, are we going to do the listening show now? I mean, you want one of us to go? Because it sounds like
You can keep talking about that.
I'll just go. I would love to hear what happens at the door. It sounded like very aggressive knocking. Someone's like, hey, no one wants to listen to your show. Get sound padded walls. I have no choice but to go on about game shows while listening to the drama at the door. Okay, anyway. I had no other shows in mind, but let me try to think of what else there might have been. So another show that we loved as kids was called The X-Files with David Duchovny, and I can't remember the girl's name, playing Mulder and Scully. That one's a bit more well-known. I'm more interested right now in shows that most of you may not have heard of or are obscure. But a lot of shows did come on at night or in the evening. Some other ones were, well, that doesn't count, The Simpsons. Malcolm in the Middle. Some of you guys don't know that. Most of you are familiar with Bryan Cranston, who led the show Breaking Bad, but a lot of us, myself included, knew him from Malcolm in the Middle, who played one of the leads. He was the father of the house. He played the character of Hal, which, if you followed up on Bryan Cranston, you might know is remarkable that he did both, because in Breaking Bad, he's a serious character, but in Malcolm in the Middle, he's a very goofy person. Great show. Another show. Back when we were little, in the mornings, we watched a cartoon called Fillmore. And the lead character is Fillmore. It's a cartoon with children, basically. And he's in the safety patrol, which is the school campus's version of local police, or the campus police. So it's like a kiddie version of a cop drama action show, which was also just great. Coincidentally, my brother was the one to find a lot of these shows. He found Fillmore and Malcolm in the Middle. And the way he found them was because he got a television from my neighbor. It was an old CRT, really old television with a tuner on it. So you could rotate the dial and you'd get like 5 channels. And I was fascinated with it too. The old simple technology you'd find as a kid, but he set that up and then he would just turn those dials and look for something. And I think only 3 of the channels worked. And then sometimes some of them worked and sometimes some of them didn't. But somehow through that, those 2 shows came up. He watched them and he found those. I used to like to watch a couple shows in the morning that I wasn't allowed to watch. I'd get up early just to watch them. Oh, you're smiling, so it couldn't have been that bad.
I'm just kind of flabbergasted, really. My neighbor, I can't.
Oh no!
What?
I hit the stop recording. I'll
Okay.
of course I'm just saying that there's.
Well, this is still going.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Do you see? I have this.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, so this is just pieces of bush. I'm like still laughing in my head, just thinking about how silly this must sound.
Good.
So the neighbor came up and she knocked frantically. We heard it the third time because I heard it twice before. I was like, I feel like someone's. So when you hear it 3 knocks, you're like, oh, this is serious, right?
Yeah.
So I ran downstairs and she was there and she looked kind of frantic and she goes, there you are. I was wondering if you'd be there. And I was like, what's going on? She's like, and she hands me clippers.
Clippers.
Yeah, clippers,
Oh,
like
boy.
shearers.
Oh boy.
And she goes, the gardeners don't do the bush anymore and you're tall. I need you to do this.
Wow.
And so she like pointed out some stragglers and I had to like reach over and get them. And she was just like, I couldn't stand it any longer. And so I was like, I got to take these inside just so I can show.
I guess I'll keep these.
She's like, what are you guys doing there? I was like, we're recording a show. And so she's like, oh, well, I'm glad you had time for this. You know, so I'm like, okay.
I'm glad it wasn't a bad emergency. I know. That third knock, I was worried that there was like some emergency.
I
sounded
know.
Very frantic. I was like, well, we kind of.
It was loud and it scared me.
But
as
it
well,
was an emergency.
But it was just this.
She couldn't stand it.
We're gonna
anymore.
have to display this like some sort of. We'll just wedge it.
No, it's gonna fall.
Yeah. Okay.
You can go set them down or toss them.
It smells good.
Does it? Okay, good.
Yeah. Anyway, what I miss?
I was just talking about shows. I could continue, but you wouldn't have missed. I'll bring you along in here. Okay, so.
Well, I made you work extra hard, so I'll go if you want me to.
I'm good. I'll bring you in with
Okay,
this.
go ahead. Yeah.
There were a couple of cartoons that I wasn't allowed to watch simply because I didn't get permission to watch them first. So I'd get up early before my parents did to go turn on the television and watch these 2 cartoons.
Yeah.
Because they were forbidden. Simply because I didn't ask.
Wait, can I guess? Can I guess one of them?
You're welcome to guess.
I'm guessing one is Digimon Digital Monsters. Shoot, that was one
I don't
that
think
was
you're
like
going
that
to
for
guess
me.
them. For
Okay.
the simple reason that there's no reason why I shouldn't be allowed to watch these. I was
okay.
setting it up to assume that this must be really bad cartoon. No, they're not.
Sagwa?
No, but I forgot about that show.
You remember Sagwa?
Try to remember that one.
Okay.
Love that.
I can do it.
They were Garfield,
Okay.
which was awesome. And then there was Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh
For
my.
that one, I was like, I need to not get caught watching Sonic the Hedgehog. I was worried
He's
about
too
that
fast.
one. I'm gonna give me ideas. No, I love those.
He's got to, the thing about him, he's got to go fast. Like
He has to.
That's like his thing.
Why does he go fast? Because he must.
Because he must. He's got to go fast though.
Anyway, that's all. I'm now going with the Saga.
Oh man, no, I just remembered like I was at a friend's party. This was like a month ago. And she has this cool loft in the city and she's like a drink mixer. And so she was mixing all these very awesome, expensive drinks for us. And then some person there was like, hey, you guys remember Sagwa? And I was like, why do I know that? She was like, it's like this old show with cats. And they were like Oriental cats. They were like Siamese cats or whatever. I don't remember what kind of cats they were. Persian cats.
I think so.
Persian, however you say it. And these cats, they just like chill out in this palace and they have it really easy.
Yeah.
And that's the whole show.
It's cartoon for kids cartoon. These cats they're in China. I believe it's China. And they're owned by royalty. They live in a palace. And there's definitely the mom cat. I think there's a dad cat who I can't remember.
There's a mom cat.
The main characters are 3 siblings.
Yeah, but the middle
The
sibling.
oldest is a boy.
Yeah.
Middle is the main character, Sagwa, a girl, and the youngest is another girl.
Yeah.
And then there were mice.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but that I don't
They're
know
just
why I watched
royal cats. And that's the
I
whole
can't remember
show.
anything about the show, but I watched a lot of it as a kid.
I know. That's the crazy thing is that it's so unspectacular, but we watch so much of it. Like I watched a lot and I don't remember anything about it other than that it was like Sagwa.
Sagwa.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. And it was like a drum, like a pan drum or something. Yeah, we were talking about Sagwa, and it kind of blew my mind when she said that, because I was like, I never would have ever thought about that show again had you not said.
Apparently, there's still a morsel in your head.
Yeah, it was one of those. And then I brought up, do you remember those colorful trays that had little pockets, but they were plastic? So plastic trays, they're probably this big, and then they had this shape like a table, but it kind of curved at the edges, and then the pockets were like also the legs of this tray, and you'd sit on the ground like this, and you'd put it around you, and there was always crayon on them. Kids had always Crayola crayon on them.
I can picture it, but I never owned anything like that.
Yeah, so, and there were all sorts of cool 90s colors like pink, green, and blue, the only colors that were involved in the 90s.
The 90s were yellow, hot pink, green, and there's one more.
Pink, green, and blue.
Like a lightish.
Purple, I guess, was around.
Hot pink.
Yellow was there, too.
Purple, yeah.
You know what? I'm going to just jump out there and say all the colors were there in the 90s, but they were really pink, green, and blue. Like in my house especially, because like all of us kids had a color.
If I had to pick three, I'd say green, yellow, and purple or hot pink as a substitute. Those three.
Yeah.
Like if you put them on a palette, I'd go, that's the 90s.
Yeah, so it was like, I think my oldest sister was pink and I was always green, and my little sister was blue, I think, is usually how it worked. And then I liked all those colors, and so we had always fist fights about things that we wanted because the colors were, we were sick of just, I'm not just a blue, Mom. I'm more than blue,
I'm sad.
I'm more than just blue. I'm depressed.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Another show was, I don't remember anything about it, but I remember what the character looked like in the name of the show, George Shrinks.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
It's creepy.
Why?
I don't know. Just something about the way they drew things. It's kind of that sort of, I don't know. Just the way they had like 5 hairs total, but they were like really unsightly.
Huh.
Everyone had square haircuts.
I don't remember that.
I detest when characters have like 5 hairs total.
Okay, I didn't watch this show. I hated it. I hated the way it looked and everything I ever saw about it. But I remember the end of the theme song, JJ the jet plane.
That's me.
And I was like, I was too young to do that. But in my head, I was like,
it's not you.
No, that's why I discovered that I was racist towards animated planes.
Yeah,
I just
JJ
don't
the
like
jet
them.
plane was ass.
They're different than me. Don't like the way they look.
JJ the jet plane was ass as a show.
I never watched it, but I hated it so much.
It's butt cheeks. It was cheeks.
Which is weird because the idea of a human face on a vehicle wasn't new. Thomas the Train. What was the show called?
Thomas the Tank Engine.
Is that what the show is called?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That didn't bother me so much. It bothered me just a little bit visually, like, but like the plane thing, that really bugged me.
Especially because the planes were like fat. Like they had fat faces.
It's like they got ice cream faced smushed onto a plate and it didn't fit, and it was really gross. It was kind of like, did you see the original RoboCop? And they did a prosthetic of putting his face. They had to make extra skin to make it look like it was integrated. That's what it looked like. It looked like his face was just pancaked under this metal plate, and it was inhuman. And it was
also fat, like a fat fake face.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hated how fat those planes were.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But there was another show. I think it must have been made by the same people who made Thomas, and I loved this show, but it was really old, and I haven't seen it since like before 6 years old or something. I can't remember what it was called, but imagine the train show, but with boats.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I think so. I don't remember what it's called.
I can't remember.
It's like Jiffy or something, like Iffy or Biffy, Spiffy.
There are a lot of characters and names, and I
feels
think
like
it was
it ends with
named
an
after
E.
the lead. I can't remember anything about it other than I just love that show. Oh, Tugboat. That was part of the name. The lead was a tugboat.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
But I don't think I got to watch.
Was it
Thomas
a movie?
the Train.
It might have
was a
been a
show. And I remember it started and ended with a human host over.
Dude, are you talking about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
No, but
You
that's
sure?
a good show. No, I'm
they
sure.
had a tugboat too, and they'd always started with a person. It was Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, but that wasn't the one. I might look this up afterwards. I don't believe I'm wrong at all. But there was a live action guy talking with or over toy models of the characters in the show that you're going to watch.
That's also Thomas the Tank Engine too, by the way.
Yeah, well, that would make sense then if
it might be the same show. They just had a tugboat.
Yeah, I'm convinced it was the same creators because the way it was shot and the characters looked the same. It's just these were boats instead of trains. I never cared or watched the train ones, but I love the boat one. I don't know why.
So there's this shot in the Thomas the Tank Engine that I would watch it with my nephew who was like 4 at the time, and he loved Thomas the Tank Engine. And I want you to imagine Thomas. Do you know how they have the music?
Oh yeah, right. With all the memes, how can I not remember what that sounds like?
So he's driving, and he's, you know, as they do the smile like this.
Face, yeah.
And so this is Thomas going on the track.
Yeah.
And his eyes actually doing that too. He's like kind of looking up here. Yeah. So it shows that for a while, and then it shows him come up to this edge. And you know how they had like different faces for different emotions, and they were kind of animatronic. So it shows him driving up to this boulder that was over the tracks, and you hear the music stop, and oh no, there was a boulder on the tracks. And then it zooms in, and Thomas is still smiling, but then it cuts to him up close, and he's like pissed the fuck off. Yeah. Thomas is like, and I remember looking at that face like, oh! Thomas was like, he's about to stab somebody. Like it just is like all happy, and then it's like, oh no, Thomas was upset. And he's like, I just remember being like, he's like really mad. And it made me laugh. And then every time, because my nephew was very impressionable, every time that happened again, he'd laugh at it too.
Yeah. Hey, you know the meme, like Thomas had never seen such bullshit before?
I think I said nephew, but I meant cousin. Yeah, cousin, because I didn't have a nephew at that age. Okay, go ahead.
Do you know the picture of the meme? It's one of the trains, and it says, Thomas had never seen such bullshit before. He's got this angry face.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Was the face you're talking about more angry than that picture?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I imagine
It's like...
just wide of your eyes and really huge furrow. I would love to look that up and watch that clip just to see it, because I bet it's hilarious.
Well, it was like the timing was silly, and it was on a really obscure Thomas video, because we had a lot of Thomas videos. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But Mr. Rogers, you brought that one up. That's a good one.
Yeah, we watched some of that.
Some of it.
But it was always way more boring than other things.
That's true. It wasn't
a little dated.
Yeah.
Even at our age.
Like, I don't think I would have picked it over anything else, but whenever it was on, I was like, I'll watch this.
Yeah.
And remember, there were different segments, like most kids shows.
Yeah.
I thought of another one, but the only segment I remember, 2 segments, aside from In His Home, in the beginning and the end, there was, what was it called? Imagination Land with the puppets, whatever the place was called.
Something like that.
That place was always weird to me, because I could see physically how big that stage was. Like, that's a land? You could walk across it in like 30 seconds. Anyway, for some reason, that broke my immersion. The puppets were fine.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, guys.
Yeah.
Good try, though.
How do you get from the castle to the treehouse?
You guys.
I was really like,
really?
It doesn't make any sense.
You expect me to think that I could do
You
that?
want me to learn about forgiveness, but you want me to forget about physics.
You expect me to forgive when I can barely even...
When I can barely forgive you for not explaining simple... Yeah.
Don't lie when you're lying to me about your set right now. Yeah.
The other segment was he would do something in real life. Like, he goes, this is my friend. Everybody was his friend. Like, I envy this guy. He has a lot of friends. As a kid, I took that literally, not I just met this guy. He's my friend. But
yeah, and he was the guy who stopped the racism from happening, because he did that. He was like, this is my friend. And then he just brought on like a black guy. And they were just like friends or whatever. But I remember everybody was like, wow.
You know, big. I would love to have seen, now that I'm older and more cynical, but also I think it could have benefited teaching wise. There's one guy, he treats everybody the same, like they're his friend. He's really nice.
I know where it's going.
Hey,
but
I know you know where it's going,
Okay.
but it's only used to be said. Like, it's one of his neighbors. Hey, George. And then he goes, George works at a postal plant. Whenever he comes on Fridays. Today we're going to. He doesn't think anything of it, but George hates Roger.
Yeah.
He just throws trash out one day. He's like, fuck you, George. Like, he's an older, bitter guy.
The listening audience didn't see it, but you just like made a very aggressive face towards one guy after being nice to everybody else. Like, hey,
Yeah, because just suppose
George,
one day this guy hates, and every once in a while he's just a hateful person.
That's great.
And he hates Rogers, who hasn't done anything wrong. But as a kid, that would be probably a good teaching tool. You go to your parents, hey, he doesn't like George, or Mr. Rogers. I keep calling that. Sorry, he doesn't like Mr. Rogers. Why? And then the parents have to explain. Some people. That would be a little more. I think that'd be more. That'd be good. That'd be a little extra little layer of reality and what the world's like. But it's not like overly crass. It's just some people are not everybody's nice. And
yeah.
Anyway, not go too deep into it. I thought of another show, but unless you want to take a stab at one, since I'm making this show about other shows, obscure things from when we were younger that some people may or may not remember.
I was kind of, well, the first I thought of two things. The first thing I thought of was the funny idea that was popularized. Well, I'm sure it's been popularized in other things before, but popularized by Will Ferrell in several characters he has, but then also like Peter Griffin to Meg, like basically picking on a person who doesn't really deserve being hated on necessarily, but it's extra funny to watch him pile on. Like Will Ferrell does that with Chip. I sure the hell am Chip. When like Chip is like, I don't think your boys are very respectful, and then he's like, well, yeah, he's like just gets in his face and whatever.
What movie is that?
Talladega Nights.
Okay, I was guessing based on the accent, but I haven't seen that. It's
like, because these kids are winners, Chip, not like you, Chip. And then just Chip is just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is kind of unassuming. And then, Peter Griffin, his thing is that Meg sucks. And, but she does a little bit suck, but it's not like it's as bad as
deserving. It's just fun.
Right. It's very fun.
Them. They are the butt of the joke.
Right. I thought about that because you said it'd be funny if he has one person he just hates. And then I thought it'd be even funnier.
No. Rogers doesn't hate.
The other guy hates it.
Oh man, I gotta
no, don't explain it. I know.
I feel like I have. No, they understood it. You didn't. I don't have to re-explain.
Yeah, right. But now imagine that this guy's nice to everybody, and then he's mean to one guy, and then the guy's just like, "Hey," and he's like,
"Fuck you, Jerry. You're not my neighbor."
Right.
Won't you
live somewhere else?
Won't you not be my neighbor?
It's like, I just moved in down the street. Yeah, well, you probably should move back. Move away. Yeah, it's funny. The other thought I had was Between the Lions.
That was the one I was going to go to, actually, was Between the Lions.
Between the covers of a book, it's time to look between the lines.
Beyond the tales. Beyond explore. Begin between the lions, but begin between the lions. But one more time. Begin between the lions. Boom. That's the outro.
Yeah.
Anyway, also a kids show, live action with puppets and real life people.
Yep.
And so here's bits. One, of course, is Cliffhanger.
Yeah, Cliffhanger is that's the most famous bit. But here's one that maybe you will remember, maybe you won't. But there's like a chef, and he always cooks meat, and it's always the same like little meat thing, but it always like looked good.
No, I think it wasn't a chef. It was the parents, the male and the female, and they were cooking on a cooking show.
Yeah.
And then the bit at the end was always
there's like meat, and then they add meat to it.
Well, the end that's right. At the end. They're following the instructions to cook this meat.
That's right.
And then it goes 8 hours? I guess how long you're supposed to let it wait. And they look at each other and they go, nah. I need to eat raw. So it's always that long?
Yeah, they always end up eating it before it's actually finished cooking.
After all the work that they did, but they can't wait that long.
Yeah, I always remember, like, I think it was not so much that it looked that good to eat, but more that how excited they were to eat it that I was like, I want to eat it.
Yeah, right. I was like, I want to eat raw meat.
Obviously, they're puppets, but I was pretty young. I was probably 5 watching that.
Felt the same way.
Yeah, that was like the 2000 to 2003 kind of era.
Man.
That's old. I was 5 to 7, 8.
I remember I told you how I had to get permission before I watched any show on TV. And that was probably the last ones I had to ask for permission for. That was easy. I was like, it's a learning show. Teach you about reading. That's literally what it's about, but it's puppets. And I go, all right. I had to say learning to read in puppets. That's what it is.
Cliffhanger was the best one. Unfortunately, it was only pertaining to the vowel, so there was only like 4 of those segments ever, even though there's like 5 vowels.
The show was pertaining to vowels?
Well, no, the Cliffhanger bit, it was about teaching the vowels. So it was like, can't hold on much longer. And, they did all the bits with other, and the vowel of the week is...
The words would always change in his book with vowels.
Right, and then he'd look at it, and then when he'd fall, he'd like say the letter, but he goes, a soft A sounds like ah. And then he'd fall down doing the soft vowel sound.
Well, he would change a letter in his book so he could escape. So if it said like...
But he never did.
the bug to bag. Now he can jump and land in a bag.
Yep.
And then it always failed. There's something about him changed. I remember that now because you said that.
Yep, it's all about letters.
I mentioned this to you in the car, I think. Ooh, ah, Dance is Smarty Pants. So Dance is Smarty Pants was a bit, and I didn't like
his pants were like this.
Yeah, his pants were way too big, so then it just moved on his hips. He's like a puppet too,
like that.
And I didn't like him, but I loved the bit. Like he looked creepy because he had like a big,
he was terrifying,
crazy eyes.
He was terrible.
But he always pulled something out of his pants. Let's see what we got. Oh, it's an ood of noodles. I'm like, okay.
One time he reaches in there and just pulls out a penis.
It's a pen. Ad is.
Yeah, right. Penis. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
That's like a really
it's
good.
It's a noodle, but just one weird noodle.
Yeah. I expect that joke on like Tosh
or
some .0 or something.
Yeah, some
where
joke
he's
show.
Like, the fancy Dance of Smarty Pants guy came back and he reached in his pants and pulled out something that got him suspended in court for 5 days, and everyone, ha.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be funny. And they like blur out a picture from like a still of him going like this in his pants. Yeah. Dance of Smarty Pants was great.
I don't remember any other bits. I remember characters, but not bits. We should probably move to another show. Most of them seem to be kids shows.
I got really into Digimon, Digital Monsters. Digimon are the champions.
Is that the whole name of the show?
No, it's the name. It's like something that's said in the theme song.
Okay.
It's Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon are the champions. That's how it goes. Digimon, Digital Monsters, Digimon are the champions. Then they did some other stuff that I don't remember, but I just remember Digimon, Digital Monsters.
I don't know if this is worth mentioning. Sorry, you should go on with that show.
Dude, I loved that show because it was so cool. It was like very violent for a kid's show. It was before they had all those rules about violence and stuff. And so just watching these monsters just mess each other up. And it was like, yeah, those digital monsters. And then they'd encounter the big scary one. And like that was the first show I watched where it had lore in it. So it felt like a whole world inside of it. That was my pre-Lord of the Rings days. So I hadn't experienced like world building to that level. And so Digimon always in my mind is like, wow, it's one of the best shows of all time. But I know it's terrible. I know it's not even close to good, but in my child mind,
right.
I haven't seen it since I was like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
I feel that way about some video games where I know they're bad, but I love the heck out of them. What was the show? All right, I didn't watch it, but I really wanted to watch Power Rangers. And there are maybe 3 different occasions when I got to go to my neighbor's house or a friend's house and watch some of it on TV. It's like they fight and they combine into a big robot. It's the best thing ever.
Yeah,
that's all I know about it. I loved it. I know it's a bad show. Well, I know there are different versions of the show, like Star Trek. They're different, so I don't know which one, but whatever.
I watched the new one, the new Power Rangers.
How new?
Like the one that was made a couple years ago, like 2 years
movie?
ago. Yeah, the movie.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, I watched it.
Forgot they did that.
Because I hadn't seen the old one.
Don't tell me what you thought about it.
I won't.
Because I'm going to try to remember what I heard about it.
Because you can't rely on someone else's opinion.
Because I want to know that what I know is what I know. That's all.
Well, I'm going to not talk about Power Rangers. I'm going to talk about another show from the old days that I did not watch in the old days. I watched them when I was a little bit older. And that show was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? And I didn't care about it. I didn't really like them. I saw a little bit, but I didn't care for it. And I always complained to my friends about it. Well, one time my parents, they went to Nepal, right? And I go to my friend's house and I stay there. And they're like, we want to watch TNMT. And I was like, yeah, I don't like that show though. And they're like, oh, okay. And then we'd go do some other stuff. And they entertained me for a while, but finally they just wore me down. And it's been like a day and a half of them. Can we please watch TNMT? Like, I know you're over here, but we want to. And so they're like, we'll even start from the beginning. And I was like, okay. So we started from the beginning and we watched it like the whole week and I really liked it. It was like really good. And I was like probably 12. So I was old enough to at least have an opinion that's respectable for a child, you know?
What a funny distinction. Old enough to have a respectable opinion for a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that. There were other pretty normal shows, I guess, that I'd never seen. So Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Pokemon, those are 3 good examples of what are probably mainstream, but I never saw them.
Yeah, I didn't.
So
I've still not seen Pokemon. I've seen 1 or 2 episodes of Pokemon.
You never
Ever.
watched Pokemon? I thought you just named a show. Was that the?
Digimon.
Oh, that's
Digimon digital
that's the
monsters.
off-brand.
Digimon are the
that's
champions.
the DC to the Marvel of Pokemon. Is that what that is?
Oh yeah, it's like the way inferior brand that they copied Pokemon to
Right.
be similar to, but they were like, well, we don't have pocket monsters, we have digital monsters, and then
Right.
the digital champions.
Yeah.
You know, the Digimon are the champions. That's what the song says. So
Yeah.
Digimon are the champions. Digimon. Yeah, no, Panky Mangs. I had a bunch of friends who were like, "It's the best show ever," but my mom was like, "No, it's got witchcraft."
Yeah. Hey, how
She
old
just
were
took
you?
people's
And
word
I'm
for
jumping
it.
a tiny bit. How old were you when you got to watch Harry Potter for the first time? Because I was at least 18. I was probably. Well, I'm think about that. Actually, I take it back. I think I might have been 17. I remember the first time I watched it. I was with you at the house in way down south.
I think I was probably 13 or 14 when I first
So
watched it.
I know you watched it before I ever did.
I
but
was,
it
I was
a
the first in
while.
my family. I was the first in my family to watch it.
Witchcraft.
Yeah, and I was kind of in my mind, but then when I watched it, I was like, "Oh, they're rock. They're awesome." And I told my family that. I was like, "Oh, mom, by the way, you were wrong, and they rock."
Never miss a chance to tell my mom she's wrong.
Yeah, and she took my word for it. Eventually, she's like, "Oh, those were great."
Yeah.
Well, like, you know, a lot of that, like, I don't want to it's definitely not really my mom's fault necessarily. You know, she'd have to have watched them to know, and she
Yeah.
was busy homeschooling and stuff. And like, if everybody is telling
only
you
heard from
they're
her.
terrible,
You only heard from her what she heard from somebody else. So
right? I have a little bit of patience for people who blindly follow other people's lead if they're moms, because
if they're moms.
because they are busy, you know. So if they're like, I have this opinion about this, I'm normally like, all right, you know, you probably heard that, and you don't have time to go check that for yourself, and I don't blame you.
This is bringing a bit more to topic. It's not a show, but back to when we were younger, I wasn't allowed to watch Mermaid, the movie, the cartoon.
Mermaid?
Yeah,
Wait.
Little Mermaid.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
what it's called? I know I saw it or parts of it, but then it got redacted. Is the word I use with maybe a couple other movies. I think Aladdin was one of them.
No way.
Where it was my mom specifically was like, "Oh wait, you can't watch those," and took them away.
Yeah.
So I don't remember like much of anything. But did you have those, or were those restricted as well?
Secret of Nim was one.
Restricted as in taken away?
Yeah,
or,
they took that away.
well, what I'm asking is, did you have these the whole time, or were there some you had for a while?
Yeah.
And then they went, oh wait, no, they took them away.
Yeah, Secret of Nim was that way.
Okay.
There was plenty that we never got to watch
What's
because we were kids.
one you
but
never got to watch that most kids would have seen?
Pokemon.
A movie, I mean. If you don't have one, that's fine. But
Ants.
the
movie-
DreamWorks version?
Yeah, Ants. ANTZ.
Why though?
I don't remember. I think it's because they were disrespectful to their parents or something at some part in the movie, or they said like maybe they said ass at some part or something.
Dude. You know what's funny? You say that. I remember now the fear I'd have if I was watching something on television with my mom in the room, and then the characters disrespected their parents. I'm like,
I know.
like I didn't like that's bad, mom. Wow.
We wouldn't do that.
Or I didn't just hear that. No, mom, I'm not getting any ideas, because like, if you saw that, it's like she's taking that away.
Yeah,
I forgot about that fear. That's a very
Yeah.
specific fear. Don't take away my shows.
I hit a kid one time because
I
they
agree with all your
disrespected their mom.
opinions. Sorry, what?
I hit a kid one time because he disrespected his mom. I didn't hit him like hard in
It's really
like the
funny because
face.
it's ironic, but I love it.
He was like, oh, I'm coming. And I went, and I hit him like that. And my mom was like, hey, we don't hit, even though you're right. And that was pretty disrespectful of him. I don't think she probably remembers that, but I remember it. Because I was like, I was doing what you would like, you know, beating him up for disrespecting his mom.
I
No,
was just treating him like you would treat me.
no,
No,
no.
joke.
No. Okay. Did you
No,
ever?
mom, no, mom, I wouldn't. You saw how you treated me. I wouldn't treat him.
Okay,
Like,
okay,
the fear
okay.
still lingers.
Right. So kids movies that were obviously
Fine.
spin-offs of like good big movies, but they were terrible. I've got the
So
first
many
one.
of those.
Okay, ready?
Well, sure.
Kimba the White Lion.
Oh,
Did you ever watch that?
no, I didn't even see Lion King until I was 18.
Right. It was literally like I was like 15 and I was like, Kimba? And like the story is that like the parent dies or whatever, and then they get raised by monkeys in the forest, and it's a white lion. I don't remember if Kimba's a he or a she. I think it's a he. But then all I remember about that is the theme song too, because it's like Kimba, the white lion, and something like that.
It's really you remember the song.
Well, I've always been very musically oriented, so of course I'd remember like dance, it's my dance.
Yeah.
And another reason I remember that particular song is because we'd say dance in farty pants at our house.
That's
we thought that
hilarious.
It was really silly.
That is risque.
It was extremely hilarious.
Up to the bar.
That's humor.
Pinnacle.
Dance in farty pants is what we would say. And everybody would laugh.
Yeah, I would if I was there.
Yeah, for sure. You would have. It was very funny. Yeah.
Two things, unless you got more.
Did you think of any kids spin-offs?
Well, actually, yeah, one of them was, and I was going to say, because you mentioned it earlier, Ants.
Yeah.
It was by DreamWorks, I believe, whatever company it was. And then the year before that, I believe, was It's a Bug's Life.
Yeah.
And people, myself.
It was well before it. It was like several years before, but
I don't remember. But they were. I remember as a kid, I was like, why did these two similar movies exist? It was the first time I ever was perplexed by that. Supposedly, the story is the director, producer, I don't know who it was working with Pixar and got fired for whatever reason. And he, as a grudge, he made his own Bug Ants movie. And so he started a new company. Is this the same guy? No, I might be getting my stories mixed up. This is one and the same or two different things. A guy holding a grudge was fired or left. Pixar started his own company, DreamWorks. And then to stick it to Pixar, he made his own either studio or he made his own version of their movie. I can't remember what it was, but that's how DreamWorks or Ants or both began.
So we went to a family video one time. You remember when it was a while ago.
It's a video rental store.
Yeah.
By the way.
I think it was a family video. It doesn't really matter what it was. The point was
Off-brand Blockbuster. Doesn't matter.
Off-brand Blockbuster is a movie rental place, whatever it was. This is the only time I remember this happening, but there was a movie that came out. It was a live action Jack and the Beanstalk story. I think it was called Jack and the Giant or something like that.
I think I remember that.
So
Jack the Giant Slayer?
Jack the Giant Slayer. Yeah. And we got there and we found a movie called Jack the Giant Killer.
Oh,
it was like one word difference.
Oh no, I know where this is going.
But they put, okay, wait. The front of it was a picture of Jack the Giant Slayer.
This is how they do it.
And then the side was Jack the Giant Killer. But it didn't say the title in the front. So we were like, this Jack the Giant Slayer. And we picked it up and we went home and watched it.
Oh, no.
And it was this terrible movie. It was so bad. And like, it was like, I was confoundingly bad. And we were like, this is not Jack the Giant Slayer. Like the quality immediately was apparent. It was like, gosh. Oh no, we didn't even watch 5 minutes of it. We were like, rented this for nothing.
I don't know how bad it was, but there'll never not be knockoff movies. And there was a knockoff of Kung Fu Panda, and I saw clips of it on this video I was watching on YouTube. It's atrocious animation. So you T-posing, sliding characters, and then like gooey faces for talking, like just cringy stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a movie. And it's a ripoff. They follow the plot, but it's a little bit different. It's not Poe, it's a different name. Anyway, I was like, wow, this exists. And they get away with it by just going off of naivety. They're on shelves or stuff. Kids look at it and go, oh, look, it's that movie, or I like the look of it. And then they don't know any
standards.
better.
Yeah.
And there you go. There's free money. And then like you only have to make a cheap movie. It doesn't matter how bad, as long as it's paid for. And kids will pick it out.
People do that with songs too, and my dumbass will fall for it. For sure.
I didn't know that was a thing, but it makes sense.
I still have this one song that I should have like
sued.
It's not like I was mad because they did a pretty good cover, but so they named the song what should be the name of the actual song. And so when I looked up the song to like listen to it, I like bought it, and I was like, the mix is, I don't remember it sounding quite like this, but it's pretty good mix. And I still don't have the original version because like, hey, this crappy one, it's doing the job for me. But I wish I would have like sent it back for a refund or something if I could have. I don't know if that thing can be can be done with those, but I still don't have the original, even though I probably should get it. I guess it doesn't really matter. Those people are they're rich anyway, so I'll help some poor schlub who does really good mimicry.
It's some dollar amount. Morals don't matter.
Right.
Rich enough, it's good, bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a joke.
Yeah. Shoot, man, it's fun. It's interesting thinking back at that time of my life because it was so different than now.
Yeah. Now you just watch whatever you want. And ironically, even though we have more access and more freedom to watch more stuff, I watch way less
Movies?
shows and movies, television in general.
Yeah, it's
movies.
YouTube now.
I watch movies, but in general, television. No. But that's just the culture. It's not me necessarily. It's no one really watches television.
You want to know a depressing thought I had way earlier, but I avoided
Yes.
saying it till now?
Yes. I love depressing thoughts.
Dude, you're going to be depressed. You're going to actually be upset.
I doubt it, but I would like to be wrong.
Okay. So the same way that we reminisce about like Between the Lions and all that dumb crap, kids today are going to reminisce about Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I think so. You know, it's just dumb stuff like that.
Well, I
They're
know
gonna
what
be
you're
like
saying.
girls like in their 30s, a couple years from now, you know, like 10 years, they're gonna be like, oh, I remember I used to stay up and I'd watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
I know what you're saying.
And my mom didn't want me to. And they're gonna be all like, oh, those were the days.
I know what you're saying, but I don't think that's a fair comparison. Kardashians are like, what would you call that? Stereotypical trash?
It's real. It's reality TV.
Yeah, but what's something more akin to
It's like
Between the
game
Lions,
shows.
though? Or make them more equal. So pick a game show, pick a game show. Pick a kids learning program versus a reality TV show for adults. Like they're
But
not.
like,
What
but
would kids
I-
actually watch today? Do they actually
Kids
watch
would
the
yes.
Kardashians?
Yes, they do.
Okay, all
for
right.
sure. Like whatever the reality
I'm not
shows,
saying
whether
you're
it's
wrong, but you can
Survivor.
understand
or-
where my skepticism was coming from. But
It's not a direct correlative, but that's because the quality of shows is
Okay,
really
I get it.
deteriorated too.
I get it. That does not make me depressed.
Okay, good. I'm glad to be wrong
I
for
think
sure.
I think I wouldn't blame him for being depressed, but I'm a selfish bastard. So I look at those and I go, suckers. I
Yeah.
got Between the Lions, so I'm happy. You know, that's where I am.
That or like kids these days, they're never gonna know what it's like to be very traumatized by something they watch because they won't kill off characters in kids movies anymore. Like now they got this show.
Kids today aren't traumatized enough. It's funny, but it's true.
Yeah. There's like the biggest struggles that characters in kids shows these days are gonna go through is like, oh no, it's
Mommy
raining.
didn't give me enough of an allowance
Right, or
to go to the Bahamas.
It's raining and now we can't have a picnic on Saturday.
Yeah, that's more
it's-
realistic.
It's
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Like I'm not kidding about that. Or like my treasure map didn't lead to a real treasure. You know, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think you could. I don't even think that would happen today.
It does.
He's gonna
that-
get treasure.
I'm talking from specific examples that I've seen of watching little kids shows whenever I've been around them or something.
It must be real. I got to talk about it. You said something about an episode where it's raining. Oh, we can't have a picnic. And it touched something in my brain. It was warm and fuzzy. It must be a real memory. I think there was an episode in some show as a kid where it was basically that we can't go out and we can't sleep at camp. I think it was camping. And they went, let's do it inside. And then they did it inside and it was amazing. And it was like, I wanted to do what they did. I can't remember, they had blankets or cardboard boxes. They put lights in. I was like, this is the best thing ever. It was a good, warm, wholesome episode. It made me really happy.
That's awesome.
Must have been real because it felt really warm. Anyway, wanted to share that tiny little bit of happiness.
That is very happy.
Yeah. Dude, one last question, kind of related, but not really. When was the last time that you did something like that? You set up a pillow fort or a blanket fort, whatever. You made your own home inside of your home and you spent the night in there. Because for me, that would be at least 20 years ago. But I'll tell you what, right now, if there was if that wall was full of couch cushions, I'd be like, I'm going to build a freaking fort tonight and sleep in that.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing stopping us aside from physical stuff. Our desire to do that is still there. And I think it is for most people. So what's our excuse? Aside from that, we don't really have the resources to do it. It's a shame.
Nah, it's fine.
No, it's fine. You don't want to do it?
I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
No, I'll make it easy for you.
I
Like
know
said,
my answer, by the way, of last time I did it.
Don't forget.
Okay.
Because I do want you to answer that. But I also want you to answer this now because I'm getting depressed because you said that. Imagine every obstacle was removed. You have no obligation tomorrow. You don't have an excuse. You don't have to get up for work. There is a wall full of pillows. So you know you have space and the material and the time. There's nothing stopping you from except your desire. Would you go through with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
At some point, it becomes more work than.
Right, I understand. Like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go buy 100 pillows and spend the money. But if the obstacles were removed, would you do it? Yes, that's all I want to know.
Of course.
Now, when was the last time you did that?
Okay, the closest thing I could think of is when I was 13. We had a gazebo and it was deconstructed in my garage, and we would climb into that. So like all of the beams were laid out in this way where they were directly on top of each other in a way that it made like all these like this little web of things you had to sneak through to get to the open part at the bottom, but you could, and it was cool. And so we put like a little lantern in there, and it wasn't like a pillow fort, but we did pillow forts at the grandparents' house, and that's been 20 years at least.
Happy.
Yeah, it was happy.
That's good.
Yep, but the gazebo bones is what we called it. The gazebones.
Yeah.
Gazebones. Anyways.
This doesn't count, but the last time I did anything close to that was I built my own bed. Do you remember this? I was 22, building out of 2x4s. It's just a platform to hold my twin mattress, but the platform and the floor was separated by about 2 feet on legs. And so my blankets on my mattress would go down to the floor. So it was effectively a tiny coffin-sized room underneath the bed. I was like, just lay down there. I was like, yeah, this is good. Didn't do anything. Just lay there for a minute. I was like, I wish I could just hang out in here.
That bed that you
Something
made
about
there,
little nooks that are just nice.
You know how your brain makes weird connections?
Yeah.
In your, like, especially in memories, that bed is synonymous with your rise in YouTube to me, because I remember the first time.
It took me half a second to draw it out, but I think I know where you're going.
Yeah. Cause the only time like I got really busy for a summer, I was working all the time or something. And by the end of it, you had like 50,000 subscribers on YouTube or something. And then we were like, we should hang out. And so I came to your apartment, and then you were like, check this bed out. I made this. And I remember being like, that's really awesome and exciting. And you were more excited about your bed than telling me about like YouTube stuff. But then you were excited about YouTube stuff too. Like you were excited, but you were like, what's also exciting is my bed. And so in my mind,
crappy that 2x4 bed
that you made, but it was cool.
Yeah.
So now when people are like, what was it like? Because people have asked me, so Walter's YouTuber, how'd that happen or whatever? And I'd like tell them, well, he just eventually got, bigger or whatever. I think of that exact same bed though, every time. I just think, bed.
Was that the story? I thought the story was going to be your bed is synonymous with your fame on YouTube, because you started with this 2x4 bed for your twin mattress, and now you have a large, very nice queen bed with Japan silk sheets.
Yeah.
So I was like, I realized, there's a big difference there.
No, I wasn't about to comment on your, whatever.
No, that's funny though. It's true. It's like Jim Gaffigan made a joke about, if you look at someone, how many pillows they have in their beds, a measure of their wealth. So it's kind of like, the bed you sleep in kind of is a fair metric of, I was like, I mean, I not like I thought I had reasons to complain, but if I did, one only needs to point to my bed. Yeah, I have a queen bed, or sorry, a California king.
You have a
California
king.
King. There we go.
You said queen earlier. I was like, after you messed up twice, I'm going to correct you.
I went from a twin bed from my parents on a platform that I made to a queen to a California king. And that was over the course of like 5 years. So not bad for 5 years.
No, not bad.
But anyway, that's all. It's not like it's a $20,000 sleep number bed. The bed probably costs like $2,000 total, which is not cheap, but
reasonable.
But to me, that's a lot, and I'm very happy with it. But just some mattresses alone are $25,000. Like, what the heck?
Yeah,
I'm not there, and I'm not trying to get there. But $2,000 is like a lot compared to free, which is where I started. Anyway, that was a fun tiny little brain trip down a part of memory lane, shows and stuff. We did jump around a little bit, but that's okay. It was mostly about that.
It was awesome.
You find out if you're actually going to keep those wreaths as decorative pieces or they're just going straight in the trash. That's pretty funny. Thank God you're home. I need you to cut my bushes.
Well, she handed it to me and I was really concerned. I was like, did I do something? Yeah. Well, it was also startling. And also in my back of my mind, I'm thinking, I got to go back to the show quick because he's carrying it by himself. And so I'm like trying to weigh out, do I help my neighbor right now with this? Or do I tell him that I'm going to, but I was like, I think I could do this fast. And so I just like quickly clipped and leaned and she was still just standing there. So I was like, she's going to wait till I do this kind of thing. Yeah. But I'm glad that she felt comfortable coming over just asking for help.
Yeah. And I'm glad that it wasn't an emergency. I was genuinely concerned. I'm glad that nothing's wrong. That's what I was worried about.
Yeah. I think
everything is well now because of your nice neighborness.
it was just so weird. I was like, of all the things, it was like, cut the bush now. I'm still like thinking back about like, how did I don't even know what I must have looked like an idiot because I was so confused about everything. And the neighbors were
watching. They're like, cut the neighbors, you dumbass.
Right. Like she was like kind of looking at me expectantly. And so was there was like 4 other people and they were all just like,
and by extension, they were all also wondering, why don't you just cut the bushes?
Like,
that's really funny.
No, it was good. I like her. She's fun. She's fun. Okay.
Hey, thanks for listening. I enjoy, I was going to say talking, but I enjoy listening to you speak and you listening to me speak. So next time you're waiting, you want to show your face is what he wants.
Yeah, next time.
All right.
I opened my jaw too big and now it's a little bit sore. Not for any sensual reasons or things that I wouldn't be comfortable, talking about to like a bro. Like it's just sore because of what I just did. Dude.